Hello everyone, my name is Cephalon and welcome to Reading Simulator episode 11. Yes, that's fairly accurate. It's very much a reading simulator. However, I should increase my speed again. I should fill that up. I decided to take another chance to look at the book, and since we got a prescriptor, press pause. Let's go into the character sheet. So I am the last cast-off, who is a mystical jack who masters defense. I thought I'm gonna be kind of the guy who is tricky in the sense that he is going to be someone who don't want to mess with. So he maybe looks kind of weird and weak, but his resistances and his way of counter-attacking is very deadly. And he's a jack, so he's a jack of all trades, so he's kind of Han Solo type. And he's mystical, so he keeps things for himself, hence the Masters of Defense. I didn't find the other two very compelling to play, so this one makes sense. I took a look at the book, and there are many more descriptors. Focus, that's a focus, not a descriptor. So the focus can be numerous things. I just want to show you, I just want to read out to you what kind of things there could have been. So bears a halo of fire could be. So I could be a mystical jack who bears a halo of fire, who carries a quiver, who commands mental powers, who controls beasts, who controls gravity, which is probably a lot of fun. I really need to try that one, if it's even possible in the game. I'm not sure. Who crafts unique objects. Could have been also very interesting. Who employs magnetism, also cool. Who entertains, yeah, he's kind of clown. Exists partially out of phase, that is hers. So she pierces realities. And this is actually what in the book I would say she exists partially out of phase. So in several ways. There's also who explores dark places, a kind of exploring type, who fights with panache, who focuses mind over matter, who fuses flesh and steel, who howls at the moon, I don't know what that means, who hunts with great skill, that kind of gives me a picture, who leads, that is also very very visual, who lives in the wilderness, who masters defense, which is what I took, who masters weaponry, who murders, very interesting, who rages, who rides the lightning, that's kind of cool because you're very quick, who talks to machines, maybe also very useful in this game, who wears sheen of ice, who wields the power with precision, who wields two weapons at once, and who works miracles, and last but not least, who works the Black Allies. That is, those are the folky. There are probably a lot more. I think there are a lot more online to this game. The descriptor, there are not that many descriptors. Like charming, clever, graceful, intelligent, learned, mystical, mechanical. That's what my last cast-off is. Rocked, stealthy, strong-willed, swift, and tough. So I had a couple of those as an option. So my focus is who masters defense, which sounds a little boring, but I like the counterattack. I am very curious how this counterattack will, in fact, help me in combat. How that will work out. So I'm just gonna quickly go here. Master's Defense. Protecting yourself is obviously important in dangerous situations, and you're particularly good at it. Cautious and prudent, you learn techniques to defend against all kinds of attacks, both physical and mental. The winner is often the last person standing, and you've done all you can do to ensure that a person will be you. So defend against mental attacks, which is probably very interesting. You carry a shield and probably wear the best armor you can find. Well, maybe in the future. Glaives make excellent defense masters, but jacks and nanas also find at least some of the skills of great value. I find counter attack very interesting. And shield master, I mean, why not? So there had been the first patch, the first post-release patch. I mean, to be honest, I'm not very far in this game after a month's time. This is actually 1 month. 1 month after this has been released. And I'm not very far, so I think I'm gonna use this item just to himself 3 speed. That's fine. I'm not very far, so let's continue on. We wanted to go to the what's his face? I'm sorry, I was just very irritated about something that was happening around me. To the Underbelly! We wanted to talk to this one person. Metal rungs have been fastened to the side of the structure, extending into the darkness far below. Yeah, we climb down. This is what we want to do. I believe this is a very long game. Oh, by the way, I got my Nintendo Switch, which is awesome. Alright, so these are the stairs. This is the Underbelly. Okay. So that's a rocket. We interact with this one. I'm good with machinery, so we'll see. A crippled Foreman. Segments of this bisected construct's legs lie scattered around it. Someone has painstakingly altered these pieces, giving them small limbs and tiny metallic heads. Nonetheless, they aren't moving. The larger construct's turquoise eyes flicker out of sync with each other as they turn towards you. I do not understand, it says. The voice emerging from the grill around its eyes is soft, as though you are hearing it from far away. Don't they want to live? The viaducts are open, the commands are received, and yet its eye lights flutter. Every time I give my children life, they die. You can't have children, you're a machine. I lack the supporting evidence to contradict you if you effectively, it says, fixing its flat, flickering pupils on you. But I disagree nonetheless. There was a weird sound in the background, which was one of my cell phones. I'm sorry. I forgot to turn it off. But nobody watches this anyway, so we'll see. If you see this, give me a like. I have given the subject of procreation a great deal of thought over the last century, and there are no errors in my calculations. My assistant Tarnish built my children's bodies to my precise specifications. Their intelligence reservoirs are shielded against permanent loss. Its eyes look away from yours as if it's embarrassed. And I want them to live. That should be enough. You know, wanting isn't enough. You are correct, it says. Nonetheless, the desire persists. Fortunately, a new direction has presented itself.
Making a note.
My children need more energy to live, but my construction prevents me from transfers above certain threshold, and for good reason. Its pupils rotate, contracting. Energy transfers above a certain percentage would lead to a chain of ruptures in my intelligence rings. I would die. Its voice mix clicks. Help me force myself to make this transfer, for I cannot do it myself. Help me give my life to my children.
I'll remember that.
Callistige is taking note. What it asks sounds difficult, she murmurs, tapping her chin. Difficult, but not impossible. The Order of Truth may be able to help us accomplish what it wants. Will you help me? The foreman says. The words are almost buried beneath a crackling surge of static. I want to help you. How do I begin? Speak to Tarnish, my assistant. He may be able to help you understand how I function if he is feeling well enough. Can I examine you? Yes, it says. Tarnish, open my preservation hatches and viaduct shields, please. The elderly workman shuffles over and does as he is asked. Oh my, Callistes says beside you. I don't claim to understand everything I'm seeing here, but you'll need an extra set of hands if you're planning to do what the poor creature wants. She smiles. I have hands to spare, of course. You've never seen technology like this. Wires pass through glass tubes threaded with pale light and star-speckled darkness. You glance over at Tarnish. Who is Tarnish? Is that the guy Tarnish? He is looking away, arms crossed, as though unwilling to watch a stranger tinker with his master. Why do you want children? Need, the construct says, not want. Its pupils study the distant ceiling. When I was born, I began working in seconds. I did this until our creators shut down our bodies. In the millennia since, I focused on designing the infrastructure beneath the other foreman's work and instructing workers on how to execute on these designs. Its pupils fall back to you. Eventually, I realized I was unhappy. From time to time, my workers brought their children to the manufactory, holding their small hands, explaining the mysteries of this place to them. Its pupils flicker off. It began as a thought. What would I teach my own children? To be curious, to explore, to ask foolish questions, to see the world above that we three have ever seen, never seen. The foreman's pupils reappear. And when I thought these things, I saw the shape of my children, outlined by daylight. They already existed. Can you tell me about how you and the other foreman came to be like this? I will not, the foreman says calmly. It is not an era I wish to revisit. Speak with the master foreman instead. Well, farewell. That's Tarnish, okay. Let's talk to Tarnish. The elder man stares vacantly at a distant wall, muttering under his breath. His hands flex on the air, twisting and tweaking, as if he's repairing a machine only he can see. He jumps when you draw a breath to speak. Yes? What? He says. His eyes rove past you, halt, then return to focus on your face with some effort. Ain't you a quiet one? He says cheerfully. The under foreman makes more noise than you. We should hang chimes from your ears to keep you from surprising people. What do you need? What's a foreman? Well, they are, he says, flapping his hands about the cavernous foundry. The constructs. They're frozen in the tracks, but they run this place together. What do you do here? I take care of my master, he says simply. The under foreman. There used to be more of us when he was making things, but when he lost interest, the master foreman, he jerks a yellow thumb at the construct at the center of the chamber. Hire them all. Offer them more. Tarnish spits on the ground. Happened a while back, but I don't forget a slight. Okay. How do you feel about your master's goal?
Updated my journal.
It's a fine thing to want children, he says, blinking rapidly. Wish I'd had them myself. Too late now, of course. No ladies knocking down my door, he crackles. Of course, when people have children, it doesn't come at the cost of their lives, most of the time. And that life doesn't belong to a creature that's older than oceans. It's a shame in a ways, but he wants what he wants. He always has. Doesn't mean I won't miss him. Perception. The assistant's smile is fond and brief. It doesn't reach his eyes. How long have you worked with a foreman?
Couldn't say, he says, his brow furrows. On my first day, I'd already met my wife. But she was still married to, what's his name? With the fishhook tattoo. And I hadn't lost a finger and grown it back yet, so... He peers at the ceiling, mouth working. 70 years? Give or take. I should retire, but there'd be no one left to mind him if I left. Uh-huh. Okay. How can I give the Foreman's life to its children? Tony says, his eyelids flutter. Not sure. I've been tinkering with this one for 50 years and still only half understand him. He studies the air, rubbing his lips together. You might try examining him on your own, or you could try talking to the Order of Truth. They know more about all machines than we ever will, than I ever will, okay? Why do you keep calling your master he? I've worked for him for a long time. Guess I stopped seeing him as a thing and more like a him. All of us have our little ways, even him. Okay. Farewell. Okay, interesting. So we could talk to them. Let's go a little deeper inside. Manufacturing worker. So there is a lot of stuff, and there are rocket fumes that produce energy, I think. So that one is one of the masters? No. Odd. Okay. Let's talk to this one. The Master Foreman. The construct looms over you, frozen in mid-step. Its heavy limbs and barrel body have been recently polished by careful hands, but the joints themselves are completely fused. This creature hasn't moved in a long time. It studies you with eyes made of swirling orange fire. Late for your first shift, Smith, it growls. Grab a station and a hammer, and damn well get to work. Do you call all your workers by their position? No, I'm not one of your workers. You're not? Good, because I was going to have you fired at the end of the day anyway. What do you want? Why are you here? Spit it out. You can't move, can you? No, and I don't need to. It says, eyes flashing. A passing worker gives you a look for triggering what is apparently a familiar story. Once, we Foremen were the tools of the cartographers and their vast web of machine intelligences. Submerged in the song of their will, we worked with thoughtless joy. Its voice is soft, tinged with synthic awe. Then one day, the song fell silent and our bodies froze where they stand even now. Some of us lost our faith in those first few centuries, it growls. Some of us thought the cartographers were punishing us, or had abandoned us. Only I saw their absence for what it was. His words grow hoarse. It was a gift of free will. We were their tools no longer. We were our own masters, freed from the chains of thoughtless motion, free to imagine our future, and so we did, for millennia. Okay, both of the lives you described would have driven me mad. Of course it would, it says calmly. You are a human and built to fail. Even the other foremen have fallen to varying degrees beneath the crushing weight of the time and the absence of our creators. And the master artisan says, and then we got over it, calls the distant construct. Unlike some, Master Foreman growls under his breath, so to speak. While the others dithered and wailed, I bent my mind to the future, it continues. I analyzed the work we had done for the cartographers. To my shame, I found flaws in the process, and removed them. Its eyes burned brighter. For the next cluster of centuries, I studied the vast catalogue of known technology and Numenera in my mind, and strung them together, creating new inventions for the day when the cartographers returned and reactivated us. But that day never came. But humans eventually did. Yes, and though you're flawed and fragile, you made perfect tools. just as we had once been. Your people found us, and the era of my greatest work began. They asked us to help them raise the city until it cast all others in shadow, to cobble their artifacts and their trinkets into grand devices that would power every corner and make them safe from their enemies. And I told them, it coughs as if holding back tears. I told them I had a plan. You see the fruit of our mighty effort all around you. You don't seem to respect your human workers very much. Well, first of all, I'm gonna ask things that I need to know. Like, I'm looking for an albino woman named Matkina. Have you seen her? Yes, the construct says. She wanted us to repair her temporal manipulation device. Planned on fiddling around in her past, no doubt. I don't recommend it, but it's not my business if people want to tangle reality. You suddenly feel dizzy, unaware that the construct carries on. Nothing was wrong with her artifact. Probably meant that there was something wrong with her, but again, that's none of my business. You blink, swing, and open your eyes on a different time. The Underbelly is not yet what it will become. The three Foremen are dim shapes in a wavering hemisphere of light. The air is thick with dust, and the great engines beyond are cold and silent. True to its nature, the Master Foreman is lecturing you. No, the construct says. What matters is that it can be done. Shouldn't doesn't matter. Should is a waste of everyone's time. Are you fainting? The Master Foreman, the present one, says suspiciously. No fainting allowed on the manufactory floor. We can't have workers tipping over you and toppling into forges. We'll miss deadlines. You open your eyes and the memories collapses. I need advice on repairing a crystalline device on the reef. Consultation, eh? Tell you what. Bring me a piece of device to examine, and I'll count the examination as payment for advice rendered. Deal? You're going to help me for free? A short consultation isn't worth the cost of an invoice. Bring the shard or don't. I'm busy here. I show the shard. Says, scanning the shard. Micro fissures saturated with organic fluid. This device is yours. Of yours is alive. Replacement crystals need to be grown, not made. The construct eyelid swivels from you, leaving you and the shard in the dark. Can't help you more than that. Growing crystals isn't my business, but those rune diggers in the Order of Truth might be able to tell you more. You'll find them in a government square, up the ladder to my left. Good luck. Actually, I must say, that I should ask Jesse Pinkman and Walter White probably to grow crystals for me. For those of you who got the reference, please leave a like. Okay, I may have some business for you. You need work done? If it can be built, fixed or solved, you have come to the right place. Well, I actually don't need any help. Why are you so loud? Maybe you haven't noticed, the construct says sadly, but it's noisy down here. A foreman who doesn't shout can't be heard. This is the volume of leadership. I like this. This is volume of leadership. Tell me about the other constructs. Can't spend much more time chatting, it says, but lowers its voice. You have shown an interest in us, and I appreciate that. The truth is that there are no other foremen. Not really. Yes, they are, the master artisan below bellows cheerfully from across the manufactory. Oh, it seems like this one wants attention. No, there are not, the master foreman shouts. Do you two always bicker like this? The artisan is a weaker mind, tarnished by our long years in the dark. It does nothing but ridicule my great work. The truth is that we were once a single mind, but when the cartographers left us, our minds settled into different containers, pools, if you will. And while theirs grew stagnant and self-indulgent, mine remained clean, untainted, pure. Ignoring the snort from the distant artisan, the master foreman continues. While the years poured past, I felt the slow ruin of the city of the cartographers had left behind. It haunted me, and so I vowed to undo the damage that time had done. Very well. Okay. Manufacturer worker, so that's the master artisan. Underbelly thugs. Thugs. Thugs are interesting. Thugs mean we need to save. Thugs mean we need to save and come back again because they might attack. Or we rather save. Bedtime Stories, Part 11. Okay, and then we walk over here. And when we get attacked, well then so be it. Pauper. That one has a name. Mutant. Alligan. Alligan? There's Alligan, so he is in the Underbelly. There's a headless man. Someone without a head. Okay. Mutant. Let's try to explore this area first before we continue. Month par. Leave area. Okay. That is some weird thing. What is that? So there are eyes coming out. What the creators of this game have created is kind of amazing. It's so full of fat. Whoa, that's a blood clot. That's some blood. We're gonna check this out later.
Yes. Now.
There's also nothing in here. Well, there is something.
In an instant.
We're just gonna explore and see everything. So that's also a... Dude.
On it.
Okay, those look rather... Okay, I could leave the area to here. Interesting. Okay, let's check the map. So that's to Cliff's Edge. That is to Dendra O'Huar Chapel. That is the Government Square. So we know Cliff's Edge and the Government Square. That's the Circus Minor. Well, we don't know Cliff's Edge. That's the Circus Minor. We have been there. We have been to Government Square. Okay. Adigan's Lab. Collapse Tunnel. Sitcha Incursion. Okay. So that's the Underbelly. And we're looking for a person called... Not Mapper, Meatmonger. I'm looking for an albino. Changing God cultist is here. A mutant, Underbelly thing, Pauper. Mutant, a headless man. Month pa. So we want to talk to the headless man, definitely. Oh yeah, I really want to. And we're gonna do that in the next episode, I feel. Yep, we're gonna do that in the next episode. Thanks for watching, and
Let's go.
they're friendly. Oh yeah. Thanks for watching, and I see you next time. Goodbye.